As most Western Occultism central schema, the Tree of Life conveys Qabalah's ageless wisdom. Depicting the universal manifestation reflected in the human being, the diagram has several classifications. While that includes triangles, worlds, and pillars, a more apparent is its 10 circles. Called Sephiroth, the plural for Sephirah or sphere, these are regarded as divine emanations. Linked by the 22 paths, the 10 Sephiroth overflow from one to another. Macrocosmically, they represent the successive phases of evolution. Microcosmically, the 10 Sephiroth stand for different levels of consciousness. Before getting into each, consider subscribing to my channel and newsletter. Check my books such as my products on Gumroad and Etsy. Also, feel free to support me using the provided in the description links. By supporting me, you also help my work, keeping me improving and growing as a creator. The Tree of Life. The Tree of Life maps one's soul and the cosmos. It displays the totality of the human being, particularly the psychological makeup. Also, the spiritual journey of achieving enlightenment and reaching divinity. As discussed in my Foamit and Flaming Sword videos, the Tree of Life navigates the seeker on the way of return. Yet, as scholars stress, it's a map, not the territory, and according to the own fortune, quote, "We use it, the Tree of Life, as an engineer, or as the mathematician uses his sliding rule to scan and calculate the intricacies of existence, visible and invisible, an external nature of the hidden depths of the soul," unquote. In 777, Crowley regards the Tree of Life as a scaffold for building the truth which cannot be taught. He points out the diagram cannot be complete as all things, including the nothing, are placed upon it. Said differently, the schema offers a place for everything and anything you can and cannot think of. Think of that for a moment. Quote, "The secrets of adepts are not to be revealed to men. We only wish they were. When a man comes to me and asks for the truth, I go away and practice teaching the differential calculus to a bushman and answer the former only when I have succeeded with the latter. The Tree of Life is a skeleton on which that body of truth is built." Unquote. Manifestation. Rather than as a manufacturing process with stages, Qabalah views God as different phases of manifestation. Evolving from one to another, these phases are the 10 Sephiroth. Although they develop successively in time, they exist simultaneously in space. In other words, the 10 Sephiroth are not places or destinations, but states, planes, and conditions of being, i.e., different types of existence. And as the own fortune says, existence of all types being present in a single being. Being of a man is made up of a physical body, emotions, mind, and spirit, all occupying the same space at the same time. Unquote. Oaks and Acorns. Each Sephirah has the potentiality of all it came before. One contains the resting 9, 2 the following 8, 3 the other 7, etc. MacGregor Matters likens this to an oak, hidden in an acorn, with its acorns containing oaks. Each Sephirah also contains its own reflection of the whole tree, falling as above so below. Meaning, each of these has its own 10 Sephiroth going to infinity, and this expresses the notion that the divine is present at all levels of existence, from the most abstract and transcendent to the most material and mundane. The nothing. The first Sephirah is not the actual beginning, that is the great or primordial unmanifest. The same is regarded as a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Called Ein Sof, in most diagrams, the three veils of negative existence are depicted as three lines or circles above or surrounding Kether, and according to MacGregor Matters' Qabalah Unveiled, quote, "The limitless ocean of negative light does not proceed from a center, for it's centerless, but it concentrates a center, which is the number of the manifested Sephiroth, Kether the crown, the first Sephirah." Negative light. Ein means nothing or negativity, Ein Sof limitless, and Ein Sof or limitless light, and Crowley attributes those to 000 or 0 absolute, 00 or 0 as undefinable, and 0 as a basis for possible reflection. In Qabalistic thought, capital N negativity or nothing doesn't mean nothing. Instead, they imply being or existence that our minds cannot comprehend, and you can think of the nothing as that which is but simultaneously isn't. The inconceivable. Melting sugar. Regarding God as pressure, the mystical Qabalah suggests perceiving Kether as a heated liquid that crystallizes when cooled. The book offers to melt sugar in boiling water and let it cool so it forms crystals. The boiling water is the unmanifest, whereas the crystals Kether. When a change occurs in the former, the second crystallizes it. On the contrary, Kether is the overflowing fountain, setting the whole tree's growth in motion from heaven to earth, following the whiting flash. Kether. Kether means crown. It is pure being, undivided unity beyond duality, and consciousness not achieved during incarnation. MacGregor Matters calls Kether the precursor to consciousness. It is often explained as yet to be fully incarnated hard genius, brooding above as a silent watcher. The inner muse. Kether is the source of inspiration, freedom, and enlightenment, the inner muse and life itself. Number 1 of the 10 Sephiroth associates with the high spirituality and the soul's connection with the divine. It represents the ultimate goal of development and the great of Ipsissimus in Golden Dawn-based orders. Such an enlightenment is considered unavailable to reach with a physical body. Only one side of Kether can be perceived by the human mind, as the other is turned to the unmanifest. Israel Rigardi partially attributes Kether to the Freudian id, yet others disagree, as that matches the Nefesh better. Psychologically, Kether corresponds to the capital letter self. Qabalistically, it is the Yekida, a monad of pure being, also Tao in the Chinese system. Chokmah. Kether differentiates itself into a complementary couple. Crystallizing from Kether, the first of that is Chokmah, which means wisdom. Regarded as the universe's great stimulator, the second of the 10 Sephiroth contains the zodiac. Since Kether is consciousness's precursor, Chokmah is its primordial spark. It is where the divine exits its undivided unity, becoming self-conscious. While Kether is static, Chokmah is active, the ultimate positive force. It is the first principle of polarity, primordial maleness, and dynamism, the foundation of the pillar of mercy. And the reason is that Kabbalistic thought associates the active male principle with creation, life-giving, and building, whereas the passive female one with death and destruction, as found in a second. Chokmah is the great father Abba, and psychologically this is the animus. Kabbalistically it's the Kia, the life force and spiritual will, and within the Chinese system it is Yang. Binah. Being the third of the 10 Sephiroth, Binah is the ultimate female or passive principle. Complementing Chokmah's activity, Binah's receptivity turns action into form. Binah means understanding, yet it also implies a state of stability resulting from previously acting and reacting forces staying still. Examples are the atom, such as the Chinese civilization before the revolution. Also, various organizations suffering from no progress and stagnation. It is often said one can only understand Binah by also considering Chokmah and vice versa. This is because the latter creates, whereas the former shapes. It is where the free force meets the discipline, form, and organization, and fortune calls Binah consciousness's synthetic principle. Shape and form demand death, restriction, and decay. Positioned at the top of the pillar of severity, Binah is the source of all primordial forms and the ultimate negative force. It corresponds to anima in psychoanalysis and the Chinese yin. Kabbalistically is the neshama, or the spiritual superconsciousness. Binah is the sphere of the Greek god Kronos, such as the planet Saturn, which practical magic uses for setting boundaries and limitations and achieving stability. Binah is also called Mara and Amma, and this refers to the Great Terrible Mother and the Great Sea from which all things emerge and to which they eventually return. The Abyss. The tree diagram displays two primary levels of being or existence, macro and microprosopos, or the greater and lesser countenance. Comprised of the next 6 Sephiroth, the microprosopos indicates the beginning of actual manifestation, and this means the one the human mind can comprehend. The so-called shadowy, theoretical, or invisible Sephirah dot occupies the Abyss's center. Considered the apex of a pyramid formed by Chokmah and Binah, the At is often regarded as a byproduct of Binah. It is knowledge in the sense of perception, apprehension, and consciousness, and like the veils of the Abyss and Paroquet, it is beyond the scope of this video. Yesod, fourth of the 10 Sephiroth, is the center of Sephirah in the Pillar of Mercy. Establishing the microprosopos' beginning, Yesod is Chokmah on a lower arc. Also called Geburah, greatness and majesty, Yesod is the ultimate anabolic principle. Imagine insulin working in everything and anything. It expands, builds, develops, etc. Chesed's magical image is that of a king who cares for his people, optimizing his kingdom through infrastructure and law-giving. It contains all archetypal ideas, serving as a basis for the abstract principles of new activities. Creative engine. Imagine having a precise and detailed vision to make something come into being based on a potential opportunity. Working efficiently with Chesed forces implies utilizing those visions as a mathematician does formulas. Unlike ones unable to transcend the mundane consciousness and the sphere of Malkuth, such people are not diluted by their astral images but make the most out of them, and I suggest thinking of Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, and others. Being the sphere of Jupiter, Chesed is the fabric of abstract concepts that eventually become something. It is the creative engine of us as individuals and as a race, such as that of the divine mind itself. Geburah. Just like we cannot have insulin without glucagon, we cannot have Chesed without Geburah. We can also have too much of a good thing, and this is where the considered on a lower arc Binah Geburah comes into play. It can be viewed as the ubiquitous or universal glucagon or autophagy principle. Being insulin's antagonist, glucagon destroys, burns, and trims the excess, unnecessary, and unhealthy. We want to get muscular and jacked, not puffy, sick, and obese. While this is precisely what the sphere of Mars does, it's one of the most misunderstood forces, thanks to organized religion, which deems severity as evil. On the contrary, Geburah is also self-preservation and not letting people mistreat and abuse you, as the latter is what excess Chesed leads to. Geburah is the universal will expressed in the individual. Its image is of a conquering king warrior, and its other titles include Din and Pachat, which stands for justice and fear. Willpower. In her best-selling The Willpower Instinct, Stanford PhD Kelly McGonigal explains willpower as three functions. I will not power standing for choosing to avoid potentially harmful, unproductive, or undesirable activities. I will power, which defines picking to do the right thing over the wrong, and I want power, or opting for the most gain and benefit in the long run, even if there's a cost to be paid now. Regarded as the sacrificial priest of the mysteries, Geburah is the principle behind all these, especially the third, which rules the former two. It is sacrificial not because of demanding to give up something you like in favor of some god. The sacrifice instead is of the lesser for the greater good, and that is exactly what I want power is about. On the other hand, it is crucial to mention that unlike the Geburah principle, the ability to exert willpower in the physical reality has significant limitations as it wholly depends on the prefrontal cortex. Let me know if you want me to dive deep into that. Choice architecture and reverse engineering. Geburah can also be viewed as the principle behind choice architecture, which my second book refers to as disciplining the environment. Popularized by James Clear and not depending on willpower, choice architecture pre-eliminates potentially harmful and unproductive choices by working with your environment. In my humble opinion, Geburah also underlies the method of reverse engineering and the power of compounding as it breaks down complex into simple. Let me know if you agree. Tiphereth. Being the whole diagram's equilibrium center, the sixth of the 10 Sephiroth represents reconciliation. Whether that's left and right, mercy and severity, or top and bottom, or divine and mundane, they all balance in Tiphereth. Tiphereth translates into beauty, yet that is one resulting from harmony, and scholars explain it is the reconciliation of the opposing pairs of Chesed and Geburah and the later discussed Netzach and Hod. The sphere of the sun represents the mysteries of sacrifice and crucifixion, hence sacrificed gods like Osiris are placed on it. A sphere can only be understood in the context of those surrounding it. In the case of Tiphereth, that's a harmonious blending of qualities. Also where divine energy is perfectly integrated as individuality unites with personality. The unfortunate defines Tiphereth as God manifested and dwelling among humans. This leads to the sphere's most crucial meaning, the seat of the higher self. It is where the mundane day-to-day consciousness ruach becomes a throne, cup, or a vessel for the superconsciousness neshama. The ruach or conscious mind comprises Sephiroth 4 to 8, including, among which Tiphereth is the center. It is the focusing point of transmutation where the great work is accomplished. Netzach. Representing emotions, passions, motivations, and desires, Netzach victory stays lowest in the pillar of mercy. While previously everything was quite abstract, below Tiphereth things radically changed, and in Netzach and its counterpart Hod, there's concrete symbolism, like the representing them rose and caduceus. Macrocosmically, the sphere of Venus is the stage where the divine separates into types of beings that move in and out of manifestation. Although split, these are yet to be individualized. Microcosmically, Netzach is the basis for instincts, eventually driving various reflexes and survival mechanisms. Nature's life force. According to the Sephirah Yetzirah, the Book of Formation, the holy powers of Yesod become Netzach's Elohim or formative currents, the rulers of nature. Speaking of that, scholars call the 7th of the 10 Sephiroth nature's life force, as it's where force finds expression in nature. And one reason is that Netzach feels and emanates hot like Chokhmah finds form in Binah. The 4 lower Sephiroth are associated with the elements. In that manner, Netzach attributes to fire. Macrocosmically, fire, conquering and victory are associated with Geburah and Mars. Microcosmically, they find common grounds with Venus's love and passion, and this dynamic fortune reveals the crucial truth that elemental energy, i.e., one's fundamental dynamism, is very closely connected with their sex life. Hot. The second 5 Sephiroth include a degree of human consciousness. While Tiphereth is the highest, Netzach and Hod are its force and form aspects. Balancing Netzach's emotions, hot or glory, is the sphere of the intellect. Also the one of Mercury, such as science and magic, as its god is taught, Hermes Trismegistus. While working with Netzach helps you come into terms with your emotions, Hod aids in understanding your thought process. Attributed to water in the elemental grades, Hod is also associated with receptivity and communication. Hod is the sphere of the intellect, yet that really is the intellectual imagination. Housing the mind's formulation of forms, Hod plays a crucial role for the magician. Increasing availability of the higher, the 7th of the 10 Sephiroth inhibits, refrains, and refines lower energies. Ruling the rational mind, Hod is responsible for productively redirecting the basic urges and desires. After all, it is the Sephirah of will, design, planning, control, organizations, systems, etc. Yesod. Regarded as the material universe's foundation or scaffold, Yesod associates with the idea of physical strength and the machinery of the cosmos. The image of it is of a lean muscular man holding the world. It is called the sphere of the machinery of the universe, and it can also be viewed as the engine of a car or a ship, which is the physical. This is because the 9th of the 10 Sephiroth comes before the physical universe Malkuth, and together they make some of a couple. Receptive transmitter. After receiving them, Yesod transmits all emanations to Malkuth. Whatever you want in the physical must first occur in Yesod, and whatever happens in Yesod almost inevitably takes place in Malkuth. You can think of it as the HTML, CSS and JavaScript of the physical reality apps. Considering this, the sphere of the moon is vital for practical magic. Comment. Based on my experience, this makes SRP and GRP different. While they both touch the Briatic world of ideas, only the first produces such a direct impact on Yesod, but that's just my hypothesis, so feel free to let me know if you agree. The Nefesh. Yesod includes instinctual drives and energies, i.e. the animal soul Nefesh. Corresponding to the Jungian personal subconscious and the Freudian id, the latter includes the child and the shadow selves. Understood properly, the Nefesh becomes a wellspring of incredible power, capable of moving mountains. Pretty much literally. Yoga systems regard this as using Kundalini for personal transformation, and I view it as the basis of all magic and personal development. The Nefesh's functions are deeply intertwined with those of the Guf, or the physical body. Examples are the autonomic nervous system, such as the instincts and the whole body. Physically, the Nefesh can be viewed as the reptilian or ancient brain. Collaborating with it favors physical and mental health enormously, and to learn more about that, check my video on the Nefesh. Malkuth. Last but not least comes the 10th of the 10 Sephiroth, Malkuth, the physical reality. Regarded as the synthesis of all emanations, Malkuth is the final result of all activities and operations happening in the tree. Fortune likens Malkuth to a car race's finishing line. Being part of none, Malkuth receives emanations from all 3 triangles. Though associated with the material, Malkuth is not the planet Earth. Instead, it refers to the physical universe's soul, also to the four elements and the psychic aspect of matter. As mentioned, the map is not the territory, just like fire, water, air and earth are not their mundane counterparts, but expressions of spirit and energy conditions. As the sphere of the four elements, Malkuth is also stability, the state of earth occurring after all opposite pairs settle in equilibrium. This is the complete cycle of experience. The material plane is an outward expression of invisible ethereal activity. The same provides substance to the coming from Yesod forms and images, and you can think of this as the framework for physical particles. The physical body. Microcosmically, Malkuth is Guf, the physical body. Certain scholars, including New Age, teach that the Guf, or the physical body, and the personal subconscious nefesh have in fact a superior connection with spirit than the ego consciousness. As Regardi said, paraphrasing, they are equally essential parts of the mind-body organism, and in my humble opinion, this reminds seekers to take care of their overall health by listening to and understanding their nefesh and Guf. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what yours is, such as your thoughts on this video and the 10 Sephiroth. Otherwise, like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel and my newsletter for more content. Consider checking my digital products, music and books. Support me with either of the links in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for your time.